We're going to kick off this morning with a message from County Council Chair Alice Howard.
I'm Alice Howard, Chair of Beaufort County Council, and it is my honor to welcome you today to Converge 2026. This year's theme is People First, Progress Together, which is reflected in the amount of business leaders, municipalities, educators, workforce partners, and community members that are here today. Without your dedication and investment into our community, events such as Converge 2026 would not be possible. County Council's role is to support balanced growth, ensure policies align with long-term economic vitality, and align priorities with intentional decisions that support progress and the quality of life. We'll collaborate with BCTV, the municipalities, education partners, and state and regional workforce initiatives. Workforce is the most critical issue facing. Employers are competing for talent, adapting to change, and preparing for the future. Workforce challenges impact business growth, local governments, service delivery, and most important, quality of life for our residents. In closing, I'd like to encourage participants to engage and participate in the session today. Take your ideas back to your organizations. When we put people first and work together, progress follows.
Good morning, Converge. My name is Kevin Phillips, and I'm the mayor of the town of Port Royal. People first, progress together means we don't pursue development in isolation. We work alongside residents, businesses, educators, and regional partners to ensure growth benefits the entire community. Workforce development follows that same philosophy, creating opportunities that allow our residents to work, live, and build a future right here, while ensuring our new employers are aligned with the character and long-term vision of Port Royal. Redevelopment has opened doors in construction, hospitality, small business, public services, and emerging professional sectors. At the same time, we face challenges common to growing coastal communities, housing affordability, transportation, and ensuring wages keep pace with the cost of living. Our goal is to manage redevelopment responsibly so it strengthens our workforce rather than displacing it. Small businesses are the backbone of Port Royal's economy. We support them by streamlining permitting, encouraging locally owned enterprises, investing in walkable commercial districts, and fostering an environment where entrepreneurs feel welcomed and supported. When local businesses succeed, jobs stay local, dollars circulate locally, and the town's identity remains strong. The town of Port Royal relies on strong regional collaboration, working with educational institutions, workforce training programs, and employers across Beaufort County to connect residents with skills that match job opportunities. We also benefit from the presence of Marine Corps Recruit Depot Paris Island, which contributes to a skilled civilian workforce and strengthens our regional economy. Within the town, we treat our municipal employees the same way we treat our residents, with respect, transparency, and appreciation. Recruitment starts with a clear mission, and retention comes from creating a culture where employees feel valued, supported, and empowered to serve. Investing in professional development and work-life balance is essential to delivering excellent public service. A strong workforce is one that is skilled and rooted in the community. It means young people see a future here, families can afford to stay, and employers can find talent locally. Ultimately, a sustainable workforce is one that grows alongside Port Royal, protecting our small town character while embracing opportunity and progresses together. We're very excited about the recent decision by the Department of Veterans Affairs to locate their new clinic here in the town of Port Royal. That clinic will be located along Rebo Road, which we also call the gateway to Port Royal. We're excited and believe that this investment is going to provide amazing services to our veterans and their families, along with good-paying jobs in the community and be an economic benefit and a boom to every business around the area.
That better? I guess so. All right. Thanks, John. We're grateful to see so many leaders from across Beaufort County and the region gather here today. From business, local government, education, workforce development, and community organizations. Your presence reflects something very important, that progress happens when people come together. Converge exists to create space for that collaboration, to bring the right people into the room to have meaningful conversation about the future of our economy and our community. This year, as you've heard, our focus is workforce. Across industries, workforce continues to be one of the most pressing challenges and opportunities facing our region. Recruitment, retention, skill alignment, housing, and leadership development affect every employer and every community in Beaufort County. But today is not just about identifying challenges. It's about alignment. It's about shared responsibility. And it's about moving forward with intention. I also want to extend sincere thanks to our sponsors. Your investment in Converge is an investment in the economic vitality of Beaufort County. Thank you for your partnership, for your leadership, and for advancing opportunity across the region. Our title sponsor, you can see up here, Palmetto Electric Corporation. Gold sponsors, Burr Foreman, Dominion Energy, May River Manor, Hilton Head Island, and Beaufort Executive Airports. Silver sponsors, Davis & Floyd, the Don Ryan Center for Innovation, Alliance Consulting Engineers, Beaufort Digital Corridor, MRB Group, Novant Health, and the SC Department of Employment and Workforce. And our Braun sponsors, which are listed in your program. Please join me in thanking our sponsors for today's event. I also want to thank today's speakers and video contributors for their time and their expertise. Their insights will ground today's discussion in local strategy and broader perspective. As we begin, I encourage all of you to engage fully. Listen carefully, ask thoughtful questions, and consider how each of us can help strengthen workforce and shape our economic future. Thank you for being here, and thank you for continuing to put people first so we can continue to make progress. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity for Bluffton to be a part of Converge. We do more through partnerships. Organizations such as the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation is a force multiplier in our mission to develop a strong, diverse economy. This year's theme, People First, Progress Together, fits well with Bluffton's economic development story and how the Don Ryan Center for Innovation came to be. The Don Ryan Center is the town's economic development department. To understand where we're headed, it helps to remember why the center was created. The Don Ryan Center started as a startup. It went through the same early phases, challenges, and decisions that many of our companies it works with now face today. In 2012, Bluffton was emerging from the recession. Town leaders recognized we needed a stronger, more diverse local economy. Relying on regional industries wasn't enough. Bluffton had to actively recruit and support new types of businesses. Bluffton first partnered with Clemson University and its Technology Villages model to establish the center. During this process, Don Ryan was the first business owner to relocate to Bluffton. Through this effort, he founded CareCore, a healthcare management company, and moved his headquarters from New York to Bluffton. His work helped establish the center, which was later named in his honor. In the past 12 years, the Don Ryan Center has advised and supported 105 companies in this formal programs, assisted more than 628 companies, helped generate nearly $40 million in new investment, and maintained an 84% business survival rate, which is well above national averages. Today, 76 of the center's active clients are Bluffton businesses, and half are woman or minority owned. When people see a community invest in them, they stay, they build, and they are locally. Developing a future workforce starts early. The Don Ryan Center helps to do that by supporting innovation programs in high schools and local colleges. The center leads the region in educating business leaders and students in the use and benefits of artificial intelligence. In the past year, more than 500 participants attended AI training sessions. Also, partners with local schools, Bluffton High School and the Beaufort County School District are launching South Carolina's first high school AI pathway with support from the Don Ryan Center. Bluffton continues to attract businesses because people want to live here. Our natural environment, preserved history, and strong community pride make Bluffton a very special place to be. Bluffton has grown from roughly 750 to over 40,000 people. As Bluffton grew, town leaders focused on attracting a variety of companies, knowledge-based, medical, light industrial, and others aligned with our environmental values. A diverse economy creates long-term stability similar to a balanced investment portfolio. Bluffton is one of the few municipalities that offers both an incubator and a landing pad. The Don Ryan Center and its second building, The Cove, provide space and support for companies considering relocation or expansion. Inside Town Hall, we operate with the same philosophy: invest in people. Town employees have access to leadership and professional development training, mental health and wellness education, tuition reimbursement and certification bonuses. The town offers benefits which many private companies simply cannot do, such as free access to a mobile medical clinic, wellness reimbursements, interest-free computer loans, forgivable down payment assistance for employees buying homes in Bluffton. Employee surveys show employees feel supported and valued, which contributes to retention and service quality. By investing in people, the culture is set for the productivity and progress, both outside Town Hall and in Bluffton's business community. The town perseverance in the Don Ryan Center is a template for any startup. There will be challenges, there will be opportunities, just keep on moving. It's nice the recession was the starting point and fully in the rearview mirror now, but it was because of this challenge, Bluffton became clear about what it wanted for its future. We are proud of the Don Ryan Center and every business owner who has contributed to the economy we have today. The vision we had 12 years ago is now our reality.
Good morning, everybody. It's an honor and pleasure to be here this morning to see so many friendly faces, familiar faces, and just very thankful that we have the opportunity to be the sponsor for this event and all the good things that the Economic Development Corporation does for Beaufort County. You know, my good friend Larry TOOMER just made a great presentation about the Don Ryan Center. And I didn't know he was going to do that, but as the former chairman of the Don Ryan Center, I'm very proud of what that organization has done. And I'm looking at Lisa Sucker, who, of course, the previous mayor in Bluffton, was very involved in getting that center started. And if you never have been to the Don Ryan Center, you need to go by there. And if nothing else, you can see John O'Toole, because that's where his office is. But anyway, it's great to be here and glad to see everyone. And I just wanted to, again, thank you for everything that you all do to make this, this county and this area that we live in such a great community. And it's because people in this room that make it such a great community. And And again, I'm just, again, very honored to be here. And I had the opportunity really to meet Rebecca this morning. And we have one thing in common that I found out, that she is a tiger. I'm a tiger, but Lisa, she's an Auburn tiger and not a Clemson tiger. But I'm not sure if they figured out whether they are a tiger or a war eagle yet. But anyway, maybe you can help us with that, Rebecca. But again, I'm very honored to be able to introduce Rebecca Battle-Bryant. Rebecca was appointed by Governor Henry McMaster and confirmed by the South Carolina Senate as the first director of the Office of Statewide Workforce Development, and is leading the effort to coordinate, align, and direct workforce efforts across South Carolina. Prior to her role, Battle-Bryant was the president and owner of Battle Plan Consulting, which is a full-service human resource, workforce development, and public outreach consulting firm. In addition to that, what lured her to South Carolina, she worked for SCANA Corporation, which is, of course, now Dominion Energy, and she held several jobs there in progressive management positions at SCANA, in customer service, corporate training, gas operations, and call center operations. And again, that's something else we have in common, because I worked at SCANA, SCNG, many years ago myself. But she's here, again, I mentioned earlier that she is an Auburn graduate. She received her undergraduate degree in business administration, majoring in marketing and sales, and a Master of Business Administration. She received her doctorate degree at the University of South Carolina in Higher Education Administration. She is a published author, certified economic developer, a SHRM certified professional, a DISC coach consultant, and you're gonna have to help me with that one, and an authorized SHRM recertification credit provider. She is married, has one daughter, and a myriad of rescued dogs and cats, which she'd get along well with my wife, because we have 5, as well as songbirds, and whatever else Mother Nature drops by. So, join me in welcoming Rebecca Battle-Bryant.
Y'all hear me okay? Am I on? I'm on. He got me. I've got the lavalier. I'll take this. Y'all, we're high. I'm off. So I'm here today. I'm so excited to be with you, and I could not believe how many people were registered when they sent me the registration list. I hope that the message that I have help you, because what I'm going to tell you today, it can't happen without all of you in the room. And we can talk, but what we do ain't going to be what works in Beaufort County and the region. Y'all know you know what you need to do, and you know who your drivers, your movers, and your shakers are. So I appreciate people first, progress together. My thing, I lived in Orangeburg County for 22 years. I married Drayton from there, and yeah, it took a year to tell me he was going, I had to live there, but I lived in Orangeburg for 22 years, it was fine. But we moved to Lake Marion 10 years ago. So I lived in Orangeburg and Clarendon County for almost 30 years total. And I know rural communities, and that was my research, was rural community economic development. And we have got some challenges, but we've also got some good news. But the first thing is, a lot of people want to know, what is the Office of Statewide Workforce Development? First of all, y'all, I gave up my job, my company. I have my own company, and I gave it up to do this. And the reason I'm doing this and driving 150 miles a day, round trip, every day from Lake Marion to Columbia, is because I am passionate about workforce development. But I'm also going to tell you, it's crazy and it's complicated. And why? Because it involves lots of different groups and it involves people. And that's what makes it tricky. So we all have to work together with this. They created my office that I'm in 2023 with the legislation that was passed in Act 67. And in that, what they did was they expanded a coordinating council for workforce development. How many of you knew that the state of South Carolina had a coordinating council? Well, that's right. Nobody knew. Okay. I did, because I worked at DU before. And I worked at DU. I'm not a good government employee, but I try my best. But anyway, the coordinating council used to be 14 government agencies. And I don't know about y'all, but the government can't fix everything because they don't know what's going on here. I saw that act passed. First of all, it was expanding the coordinating council. And now there's 38 members on the coordinating council for workforce development. There are government agencies, but our education partners. Our education partners are now at the table, and I'm proud of the fact that when we came in, I'm going to slip to this one first. When I came in, there were 5 business and industry slots that had not been filled, and they wanted me to fill them. And having been in private industry in human resources, I was very passionate that they be outspoken, represent a variety of industries, and and the governor has to appoint all of these people. So one of them is here today. She is here representing not only the construction industry with Pyramid Construction, who is a Braun sponsor for today's event, but she also has extensive experience in career technology education, having run the Berkeley County and Richland School District 1 career centers. And so her voice is very important. We've got Mandy Baltseeger, who is from Orangeburg and has worked in human resources and IT, and you'll know why that's important. We have Michael Morris, who had been with us the longest. And we've got Healthcare Jay Ham, who represents Lexington Medical, and Barbara Livingston, who is HR for Gregory Electric, but she represents our public utilities. But I'm proud, and Jess Key, I also want to mention Jess Key. She is the Director of Talent Acquisition at Newport News. And Newport News is a shipbuilding company that has come to Charleston in the last year. And they plan, if you've heard about what the plans are for our Navy, they make the submarines and the aircraft carriers. And that's very important. So she is also there. We now have 6 private industry people, 4 of whom are human resource practitioners, and 3 of whom represent manufacturing. So I'm really excited about that. But just to let you know what Office of Statewide Workforce Development is in relation to the Coordinating Council, there's only 5 of us. I would have never agreed to come and start another agency. We don't need another agency. We need boots on the ground trying to help. Because I'm going to share with y'all some statistics from our state that I find concerning. I think there's some good things going on, but we have some concerning statistics, and y'all as the local thought leaders are going to have to be the ones that figure out what it is you're going to do to try to help that. So with the Office of Statewide Workforce Development, we're basically high-powered project managers for the Coordinating Council. That Coordinating Council represents you. Those meetings are public meetings. You are perfectly allowed to participate online or in person. It's perfectly fine. I'm very excited that we're making the meetings much more interactive. We are bringing local people to the council for them to hear from you, boots on the ground, what's happening in Myrtle Beach, what's happening in Beaufort. But the Coordinating Council, as I mentioned, is that big oversight board, and then there is an executive committee of which I'm a voting member, and we make the decisions. And then I report to the Coordinating Council Chair, who is William Floyd. He is the Executive Director for the South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce, and he is a retired attorney, labor attorney, and I knew him back in circles back in the day. Our group is responsible for enacting whatever projects the council votes on have a vote. So this year, I'm going to share with you the 2 big things that we're working on to try to address the workforce. But the 2 big things are out there, but they're not going to work unless I get y'all to help us. That's what I share with you. 2, we operate under a unified state plan. And just to give you an example, like right now, and it is requiring that the governor be a grantee. The governor has to sign. And he has designated the Coordinating Council as his executive arm to get. So this is a council that is to be the voice of the people, and we are all aligned under 3 things. Are people aware of our jobs and careers? And when I tell you the statistics of the college graduates leaving our state every year, and the high school students that disappear after graduation every year, I think you're going to be aware that we don't have awareness. And I'm going to show you what we found out in a perception study. I'm going to move quick. Also, do they have the skills to do the job? Do you find that your workforce has the skills to do the job? Or it's okay? Are they ready? Yes, no, I'm hearing no. Well, your news flash. You're gonna have to do it. It ain't gonna happen in education unless y'all talk to education. Y'all gonna have to talk to your education school districts, because here's another thing that's fascinating about South Carolina. We are a state of 46 counties that are independently operated. And then you've got your towns, as we heard from our mayors, we've got our towns and our cities, and everybody has their own turf, and everybody has their own political thing. And so that is what makes us interesting. Our technical colleges all operate on their own, or an entity unto themselves. Your school districts, there's over 80 school districts in South Carolina, and they get to, South Carolina Department of Ed can recommend and send money, but they can't tell them what to do. Only you can, through school board and local participation. Same for your college. And so you can see that skills, if they're an issue, you got to get involved with education earlier than later. And if you aren't, you're going to have to probably do some skill development on your own. And we'll talk about what incentives might be available. And then if you're from rural communities like I have been, there are barriers to employment. If you can't afford childcare or you can't find it, I had a child late in life and I couldn't get years because I was on a waiting list. So I could get other help, but other people can't. So that's somebody not participating in the workforce if they can't afford childcare or it's not accessible to them. Transportation is another barrier. If you don't have reliable transportation to your job, that impacts you. How can we overcome some of these things? And then just the survival strategies of generational poverty are pervasive in South Carolina, and that is something that we're going to have honest talk about. Overcome that, especially when I share the high school statistics. So that's kind of how we operate. We take the projects and I get inspiration from you. I'm going to share about best practices that I'm hearing throughout South Carolina with innovative and creative communities just like yourself. But when I see this many people in a room, I feel like I'm going down there and talking because y'all have got stuff that you have the people that want to do something about it. But to give you a 50,000-foot perspective contextually on what's actually going on with our workforce, it is very, like I said, complicated. And there are four main entities here. We have the job seekers, which I call the earners. Then we have our education part, which counts for pre-K. I count at birth to kindergarten. So what about our early childhood education center? And then kindergarten to 12th grade, and higher education, which includes 2-year and 4-year. So then we have our employers, and they are very important in hiring the workers that they bring in. And then in the middle, we have our workforce ecosystem, which is your DEW, have regional workforce advisors, do amazing work. Local county, your council of governments, they receive funding that can allow for training to occur. If they don't know you're here and you don't know they're there, y'all are two ships passing in the night and there will be money available to help you with some training. But there's all these people are in this mix and it takes a balancing act amongst all of them, and that's why this is so important. The world has changed between technology, between generational differences, which I think has been a paradigm buster. Everything has changed in our workplaces. They're much more different. I'm going to show you research on that. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here because I don't have much time, but these are my top 10 workforce for 2026. You want to take a picture, and I think they'll have the presentation in a PDF later. But the best is fractional work. A lot of people, because either they're child care or homeschooling, they might want to work a part-time gig or a consulting gig. I was a fractional worker. I spent 20% of my time over here, 10% over there. I enjoyed my life, I really did. But I'm enjoying it too now, I'm fine. But fractional work is huge, and it might be a thing you have to accept. I had a company in Charleston, and she wanted to hire somebody that would work for her part-time, full-time. She wanted her full-time. And she told me she only wants to work 20 hours a week. She was a younger worker. Said they don't want to work. And I said, I don't think that's the case. The girl had her own company. She had her own social media company and wanted to do that and build it up. So she just wanted a part-time job. And if she's great, find the 20 hours a week and hire her, and you don't have to pay for a full-time person. Do it. The other thing, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our younger workers just quickly, but career pathway, if you don't show they're going from an entry-level job into what's available, and even if you don't have availability, if you're developing this for something, If you know I'm a way station job that they're going to be moving on, especially if you're in hospitality or accommodation. But I worked for a bridge contractor for 3 years. I was the vice president of HR for a bridge contractor. When I brought interns in, the whole company, I showed them accounting. I couldn't do estimator jobs. Those are complicated accounting and physics kind of jobs because you're estimating how much dirt you're going to need to make an exit ramp. Cement I'm going to need to pour a column on a bridge. So I couldn't find estimators. I brought my interns in and showed them everything. I couldn't take them to job sites. It's hazardous, and that's one of the biggest excuses people give. It's hazardous. They won't let me do it. You can get creative, people. You can be safe and be creative and still get them there. But a lot of things that are big about work, it used to be people wanted to work from home. 10 years ago, work from home was a benefit. COVID made it an expectation. 3 years ago, it was return to work, and now it's workplace flexibility, and you'll see in a survey of South Carolinians, that is something they expect, especially our younger workers. And you might say, why are we spending so much time on them? I'll show you a graph, but they are 5% of the workforce, so it's time to understand that that world works on their terms. So, number 7 is work flexibility. And this is because this is new on my list. And y'all said earlier, want kinder, nicer places to work. And I don't have a problem with that, and I'm not young. So I don't have a problem with that. But if you have toxicity, it is driving people away. One, because our younger generations don't know how to communicate or deal with conflict. And conflict is human nature. The older we get, the more we realize it, and the more adept we become at dealing with it, hopefully. But nonetheless, they don't know. And if they don't know, they just ghost you. They leave. They're like, this isn't what I signed on for. But big thing that showed up, that's never shown up, and I keep hearing it, and y'all saying people, we're talking local action here, belonging and networking. And I'm going to show you data that says when young people are looking for internships, the number one thing they're looking for is not career exploration. They're looking for skill acquisition and networking, like y'all did from 8 to 9 this morning. And if you have an intern, that you're giving them opportunities to meet other players, because then I'm going to have a connection with you. And then I might want to stay with you because I feel comfortable that I've emerged into that relationship. And that's why we come and network at these things, to build the relationships. 5 generations at work is huge. It is not going away. While our traditionalists, which were born before 1946, do I have any traditionalists in the room? Anybody born before 46? Okay, so we got some boomers maybe. Do we have 46 to 64? Raise your hand. Y'all be proud, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine if you're there. You've earned it. Okay, and how about our Gen Xers? We got 65 to 80. I'm a Gen Xer. Okay, so we're here. And then our millennials that we were complaining about 10 years ago, 1981 to 96. Y'all raise your hand, be proud. We're not talking about y'all anymore. Okay. And then do I have any Gen Zs, 1997 to now? I see a smattering, and that's about what I see, and I'm going to show you some statistics in just a second. But Gen Z is here, but they're getting ready to split out Gen Z, and they've named it Generation Alpha. And they were born between 2013 and 15, which means they're going to be at your workplace in 4 years if they don't go to college. And if you think that Gen Z's a hot little mess, well, Lord, you don't even know what's about to happen now. Because guess what? Do any of y'all have kids or grandkids born between 2013 and 15? Raise your hands. Get them outside and let them push a lawnmower right now. And y'all talk to them. Because here's the deal. They were in kindergarten through 2nd grade during COVID. So if you think you got developmental training problems now, you might have it when it comes, because they were passing kids along, especially in our rural communities. They did a disservice to our children, and we have got to help them. And I get very upset about it, and I tell you, I get emotional. Which comes to our third thing, skills. Skills are the buzzword. We're going to have to teach skills, and they're going to be hard skills, which are technical skills, and they're going to be soft skills. If you want soft skills from an employee, you need to model them. So don't ask somebody to come in and be a unicorn, and y'all are awful. I mean, and I know none of you are. But then, number 2, and I heard it mentioned, and y'all's Innovation Center is arranging these AI classes. AI is huge, and companies to ethically embrace it and to use it. It helped me as a sole proprietor for my company, but there are ways it can be abused. I always am a primary source person, but if they can give me structural creativity ideas and ideas for where to go to research and then go dig for is fine. But AI use and policies in your workplace is huge because Gen Z is suspicious of it, and they are looking for jobs that are AI-proof. So we are seeing, as was mentioned earlier, a resurgence in craft skill training. And I was responsible for the craft trades program at Orangeburg Calhoun Tech for 11 years. I ran truck driving, electric, everything. I did it all, and I got to be really passionate about it. And then number one is human connection. And we've somehow gotten away from that, and we need to get back to it. And it's been missing, and it's something that we're looking for at work. So I talked to you about the skills, hard and soft are equally important. This was a survey of 2,600 employers. On the soft skills list, changed a little bit. Communication always comes up number one, always. We don't communicate right. We don't, and I'm going to tell you what I've heard from some Gen Zs. But professionalism, time management, to 2 and 3, where before it was solving and thinking. But some of these skills are going to have to be taught at your workplaces. They might not be education system. You might have a great education system. You might have great schools in Beaufort County. I don't know. You know. You don't feel like you're getting what you want out of your education system. They are an entity unto themselves, and you need to get involved with your local school board. You need to be talking to your teachers. You need to be talking to your school administrators. And I mean, this is from birth to K-12. It starts everywhere. I heard this word brought up, and this was from my research. Extension partnership. I co-authored the Workforce Development Playbook. It's free. You do have to enter information, but they are not tracking you for marketing. It's for them to know how to download it. But when I interviewed companies all over South Carolina, workforce issues fell in 3 areas. How do I recruit? Where do I find these people? How do I retain? What am I going to do? And I had a question about how do I keep my employees up to speed on their skills? You don't have to train them, and you're just going to have to invest in that training. But how do I keep them? And the other is to be a nice place to work. And then the last is reputation. And you know, these small towns, we talk at the Piggly Wiggly, we talk on the sidewalk after church, we've asked for forgiveness, we go out there and start trashing everybody. And so if your reputation's in the tank, your recruitment and your retention, you're wasting your time and your money if your company's a bad place. This thing I'm going to talk about today is about how you recruit and how you retain. So we've already kind of hit our Gen Zs. This is a paradigm buster, y'all, because how the younger workforce talks and interacts is totally different than how I might have as a Generation Xer. And baby boomers, for sure, a lot more formal. But Generation Z's here, Generation Alpha's coming, and their expectations are completely different. They're not going to stay with you long, so don't take it personal when they leave, but make it really hard for them to leave, okay? This is something I find fascinating. When I did in my consulting company, I was working with companies on retention strategies. I had a client in Alabama that hired 1,700 people between January of 2024 and October of 2024. 1,700 people, and guess how many people had left from January through October? 50%. They had over 900 had left. And at some point, we're running out of bodies. Our population is not increasing, y'all. So in these classes, I was reteaching supervisory skills, that the young people want to be coached more than supervised. And so I was finding that, like in this room, 10% were Generation Z. So I asked them some questions if they were agreeable, not scientific, but just me. And I said, do you agree with how we define Generation Z? And it is defined correctly. And I said, do you identify as how it is? Said, no, I do not. So my third question is, what made the difference for you? And the biggest was a parent or parents. But this generation is the largest one raised in a single parent household. And if that single parent's trying to work 2 jobs to put food on the table, clothes on their back, be a parent. The other, the school teacher. Third was a good boss and a job. 5 was, it was a sport, participating in sports, and a good coach that told the truth. Number 6 was a religious figure. We only have the ability to impact maybe 1 or 2 of those 6 things. And if it's a good boss or a good place to work, that's important. But set them apart and what can make a difference. And it was a human contact. It wasn't a class, a human being. And was a group we interviewed for our coordinating council meeting in September. We interviewed 5 young people under the age of 24. They either had a high school diploma and a job, 2-year college degree and a job, or a 4-year college degree and a job. And we asked them one question, and all of them answered the same thing. The question was, what do you wish you'd learned in high school or college that would have better prepared you for the world of work? And every one of them said they wished they taught me how to speak and communicate better. It's not being taught in our schools. I'm advocating for our education partners to do it, but you are a more powerful voice than me. You need to tell your schools they need to be doing project work. They need to be on teams. They need to be graded on how they interact with you and with their classmates. This needs to be a part of their rubric because it's also a very important part of their hiring skills. But these are some of the comments that they said. And one of them was a 19-year-old firefighter. I get kind of choked up, but he said, and he is in a high-stress job, but he said he wished they had taught him words of comfort for people in their time of need. And I think that's very powerful, y'all. And we just need to talk to each other more respectfully and more compassionately and have some grace, because this generation has been raised on their phones, but they're suspicious of their phones. So this is your workforce. If it's coral or red, 55% of your workforce in 2025 is 45 years or younger. They're here, they have their own expectations, and if you haven't adjusted how you supervise, how you lead, this could be impacting your turnover numbers. It's just another graph to quickly show that Generation Z is about 10% of your management teams already. And so they are going to drive how some of these changes are. But you can see that the baby boomers are retiring. Gen X was a small group anyway. But guess what? In COVID, the majority of us left the workplace and started our own companies. We got sick of it. And that's what I did when I started Battle-Bryant Consulting. So fascinating dynamics here. So the bottom line is the workplace has changed. This is from a book called It's the Manager. I highly recommend it. Jim Clifton, Jim Harder are researchers for ADP research, and so ADPI. And so anyway, they said our future workforce wants to know how the job aligns with their future, how are you going to develop them, which means training, and how are you going to coach them versus tell them what to do. Their number one question to ask, if you hadn't figured it out, is what? What's their number one question if you got kids? No, why? Why? I have a 22-year-old, y'all. I'm married to a boomer. I'm a generational expert. I'm married to a boomer. I was his first midlife crisis. That's why I'm hyphenated. Wasn't sure to last. It did. And then 11 years after the marriage vows, a child showed up that's a Generation Z. So he's 71 with a 22-year-old. Life is fun at my house. So anyway, I just tell you, if you need any information on generational problems, I can help you. So priority occupations. This is something we need to be aware of. I'm going to show you that our young people don't know what jobs are out there. And this is some research that was done. How many different occupations do you think exist in South Carolina? Well, it's about 800 plus. So we have 800 plus occupations. But we did this fancy formula with all the economists at DEW that are much smarter than me. I said, tell me what I need to know. And they just give me the rundown. But they basically looked at what jobs are in South Carolina that require some type of credential or higher ed degree or certificate to work. We looked at what jobs are in demand or have what jobs pay above the poverty level and provide a livable wage. So they did this, mushy formula stuff. And they looked at the future growth of jobs, and I've got the top 5 occupations in your region. And the number one growth industry in the Beaufort region is healthcare. Healthcare is huge, and it will grow. Y'all are going to see in the next 5 years about 4,000 in addition to what's already here. And most of that will be in healthcare. Number 2, construction. And then certainly your hospitality is 3. I have the list here. Hospitality is 3. And then I've got, professional, scientific, and technical services, which is management, your engineering firms, like architecture firms, those types of industries are number 3. Hospitality is 4. And number 5 is arts and entertainment. I know y'all have the Beaufort movie thing going right now. So anyway, we looked at all of that growth y'all have, how you're going to make a living, current demand, are we keeping? So we came up with 64 high priority occupations. Architecture and construction is number one. With all the building and all the influx of people, that makes sense. Manufacturing, number two. Well, in healthcare, over here, health is over here, so that's up there too. So healthcare, manufacturing, construction, and then hospitality, tourism is something big. But what do you see on this graph that I see? Of the 64 occupations, what does this graph tell us? Most do not require a 4-year degree. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't go get one, but it does mean that why are we telling our kids they've got to go to college right out of high school? Why are we pigeonholing people to go into certain career pathways, and how can you show them where they can go from there? But most of our high priority occupations do not require a 4-year. Does not mean they shouldn't go get it, but it might happen differently. How many of you are doing today what you thought you were going to do when you were 18? A few of you, and I'm proud for you. I'm happy for you. That's so good. But you can see that it was not many. So your career pathway is uniquely and wonderfully made as your DNA code. So why are we telling kids what they have to do when they're in the 8th grade? Why aren't we college and career preparing all of our kids, whether they're in the college track or the CTE track? Because then I'm going to share with you some statistics. And I'm going to move fast because I know I don't have a lot of time. But we did a research of what South Carolinians think about the world of work in South Carolina. And we did it last summer, and we published it, and it is on our website called findyourfuturesc.gov. That's going to be one of your action items today. It's to go to findyourfuturesc.gov and look at this stuff. And you can download the report. If you're a squirrel brain like me, read the executive summary and then go to page 44 for the key findings. That's how I work. But if you want to read the whole thing and you're that person, yay, yay. But we asked how familiar, we asked 800 people, and got a response rate of about 600 plus, which is a great response rate if you're into marketing and all that. So of those that responded, very representative of demographics, location in the state, education level. It was very representative. However, we did oversample 18 to 24-year-olds. So when we asked how familiar people are with our industries, I don't think these are exceptional numbers. Kind of mediocre, but the high priority occupations are all over here, which is even less awareness of those. We don't talk about manufacturing or construction. And y'all, I worked in bridge construction, and I had a PhD, and I was the VP. Guys that were 26 years old running a crane making more money than me, because money's good. I was like, darn, when my child was like, you need to think about construction. And so you'll do really well. And but you can't make money if you don't run a crane. But all I needed to know if you could run a crane was, did you get crane operator certification from North Carolina? It cost us $5,000 to pay for it, and we took care of the rest. We'll train you to be a supervisor, but if you can run that crane, then you can be a superintendent or a foreman, because I can't have a foreman on a job site that can't run a crane in case the crane operator doesn't show up. That's a big job. Estimators, big jobs, but these kids don't know about it. This is your region. So here you are in the Lowcountry. The most familiar industry was retail and sales, retail, trade, and sales, no shock with all the hospitality. But our big sponsor for the day, the advanced energy and utilities, your gas, your electricity, the stuff that makes the cities run, is the least recognized and has the highest growth opportunity. I would say there was higher recognition of it in this area than in other areas of the state. So I do want to point that out. But the orange line here shows the young people. So we were kind of fair to middling with the general population in awareness of retail, education, and accommodation and food services were the top three. Manufacturing, where the big jobs are, construction, transportation, and warehousing, not so good generally, but it's even less with our young people. Why aren't we telling them about these jobs? And if that is your company, you need to be talking to these kids in school about what opportunities exist. These challenges that we're associating with certain industries. Low wages are associated with accommodation and food service, which is true. Retail, that's also true. But y'all, if you go for a part-time job at Marshall's or TJ Maxx, my favorite store in the whole world, it's $15 an hour, because to get a job. She joined the Air National Guard, just a little off the radar track, but anyway, she does her own thing. But anyway, $15 an hour. She wants to fly a plane. She doesn't even need a college degree for that. She's too far down her college bunny trail. So anyway, she wants healthcare and public government considered high stress. Hands of the job, construction, manufacturing, construction showing up there, but it is. And then work environment, advanced energy utility, I guess hanging off those power poles can be worrisome. But the biggest thing, especially with our younger workers, it wasn't number one, but 2 or 3, it was routinely showing up across industries that inflexible or long hours was worrying. And it might be because they're taking care of family, elder care, child care, I don't know. We also ask, what are you looking for in a job? And of course, salary comes first, and benefits, health benefits, and a stable job. When we put the young, and I want to draw your attention that workplace flexibility stood out. That was a big thing for them, and it goes back to the slide I showed you about Harder and Clifton. They want opportunities that align with your personal interest, and they want a sense of belonging, which aligns back with the trends, that they want to have that connection. So what are we going to do with this information? Because right now, the majority of people feel okay, not enthusiastic, but it's even less so with our young people who are the majority of got to start talking to them about all the jobs, careers, and even if you're a small or medium-sized company, you have the advantage over the big names because you have flexibility to make things work. You're like, well, we have these safety rules, we can't bring them in, and I was like, we're small, we can work things around, and y'all can too. So don't sell yourself short if you're a small or medium-sized company, but just know that the lack of good-paying jobs is what is driving people to Savannah, it's what's driving people to Atlanta, and driving our to Charlotte. So to share some statistics came up in this report and in our data at DEW. 20% of your high school graduates every year disappear. That is your potential workforce that you should be recruiting. They go away. And if you're from generational poverty in a rural community, there are survival strategies. They know how to survive. But when I say they disappear, that means they do not show up on college records for a 2 or 4 year, and they do not get a job. They do not show up on wage records at DEW. That's a lot of people in the area that God-given human potential, okay? And yeah, it's hard work, and we all know it's hard work, but sometimes somebody just sitting there going, it's hard work, but look what I did. You know, you can do it too, and give them some hope besides this is it. But I don't know why they're disappearing, but they are, and it is reality I'm leaving with you as the thought leaders of Beaufort today. The other thing is that the number of college graduates we're producing, the number of them leaving our state has doubled in the last 10 years. Walking away. And you know, a lot, and our big schools are recruiting a lot of out-of-state students. So the predominance of that. But if your kid doesn't have a job, I don't know about your kid, mine's gonna. But if your child doesn't have a job when they graduate, where do they go? Home. So if home isn't here, or you know, you don't know that there's a life here. So my hat is off. I know one of your people, I think Bob Elliott, and a group of concerned citizens. I'm very proud of, and I had a long conversation with them before Christmas about what you're doing to retain your nursing graduates in this area. Y'all have a South Carolina nursing retention. It's a group of concerned private citizens that said we are graduating healthcare graduates from USCB and from Technical College of the Lowcountry, and they're walking out the door. We're going to stop that. And they created their initiative. They've got their plan, and that is what I'm proposing to you. That is a best practice that I'm sharing with other areas in the state. That is what you're going to have to do, y'all, is get together and figure out how do we do this. They raised their money privately. They've gone and looked for other sources. He's looking for how to scale up, and I hope that we can figure that out as a state. I don't have money, by the way. I'm just going to tell y'all, I don't have money. But I will help you try to find it and connect with other people. So I just brought that up. How we're going to change this awareness is going to take time, but it's got to be you talking about the great jobs that are out there in this area and keeping people here. So I will wrap it up by talking quickly about how we plan to do this from the CCWD level. We are addressing workforce on 2 components. One is a technological connection, and then one is the human connection. The technological connection we've been working on in the legislation that formed my office, it's called, they want us to build a portal where employers, job seekers, educators all go in one place. As a hiring manager, I knew where I went to find people to work, and I had my sources. I had an applicant tracking software. I used Indeed for some things. I used LinkedIn for some things. We all have our way. And I was like, no way they're going to sell me on going into something that's a central place, especially if it's another government database. But I can tell you that that is something that was in the legislation, and then darned if this new administration in DC in the last year released a report called America's Talent Marketplace, America's Talent Strategy, and they want a digitized marketplace for human connection. They want a one-stop shop, and we're already ahead of the game over other states. And one of those grants that I'm working on through the governor's office is to hopefully find us seed money to continue building this, although our state legislature gave us about $10 million last year to start the building of it, and we are getting ready to build the scope of work. Now, to build a portal, it takes time. Just to kind of give you an idea of what is a portal, first of all, in South Carolina, we have all these agencies, and none of them talk to each other, just like at the federal level too, same thing. So the portal will connect them. Well, we're already connecting them through links on our website. The portal, because of state purchasing rules, might take 18 to 24 months to build. So we have a website that's going to build the bridge between nothing and the portal later. But the federal government is looking for all of the states through their governors to build this, and we're already well down the road having done some experiments on this. First, we built the website, and that's one of your to-dos because you will have wasted your time if you came to, well, you did, you networked, so you didn't waste that time. But your time listening to me, if you don't go do something, go check this website out. The portal is being determined, but we have been running experiments and found some fascinating things. So a portal is like if your kids go to college, they have a sign-on, and it's got their classes, their professors, all of their stuff that's unique to them. Same thing for you, same thing for you. You can sign in, and it's unique to you. But everybody is in one place, which makes it easier to find. Because y'all post the jobs and no one answers. They say they apply for the jobs and no one answers. We're two ships passing in the night, y'all. This might be our chance. So we did the first experiment with Future Finder AI, and what we found out is it won't work if the employers aren't there. So I'm asking you, once it's here, to think about doing it and talking about it. But on our website, we have information that's available to you. We've connected all the different agencies. Is it pretty? No. Is it perfect? No. But it is something, and we're getting there, and we're evolving it every day. We also learned that if you're recruiting young people to sign up for a system or for your job, if you're not advertising on TikTok and Snappy Chatty, they're not going to find you. My daughter's become a gourmet cook with TikTok videos. I'm mortified to tell you this, but it's true. And so I tried so hard, but it's okay. She does cook, and she's eating healthy food. So that's all I can ask. But anyway, this experiment showed us we paid inexpensive money and found out that the 75% of the kids that signed up for our experiment found us on social media, not through normal ads, through Indeed, not through LinkedIn. Then, this has been the biggie, and I don't know really where this is going, but I first was like skeptical because I was that hiring manager that says, oh, I got my way, I'm not doing this. But Google wanted to start a experiment last July, and they're still here. Like this, and we're the first state on the cutting edge of this type of idea. And then here comes from Washington, D.C., a directive that says a digital talent marketplace, and we're already on the way. So I'm really excited for this. Don't know where it's going. Don't know if Google will end up being one of the vendors. We have not paid them anything, so there's no conflict of interest. They basically have built profiles for young people and employers, and it looks really swanky and really good. And their technology is unbelievable. So just know that what we're doing here is getting notice shots at Google. So I just want you to be aware that they are trying to make it, and the thing that will set them apart, if they can pull this off, I don't know, but what they've been concerned about that no one else has ever talked to me about is support wraparound services. How can people locate local services to help them with transportation, child care, those types of things. That makes me happy because it won't work until we get people working. Some of our labor force participation is childcare and or homeschooling. So I want to just direct attention again to our website. Last, ask from you. The healing. But the young people are suspicious of it. They want opportunities, and they want to know you, and they want to know what you're doing. And if you're from generational poverty, or if you're from a disadvantaged district, you might not think there's any jobs out there. I was in an urban area doing a research study for a school district, and they said, we don't have manufacturing here. And I'm going, oh my God, I passed it's on the way to your school. But if you don't know what it is, it's just a big box building, you don't know what's going on in there, that's what you think, and what's being. We need to sit down about how can I let you know here? Because if you don't know, you don't know. Especially in these rural communities, they think it's desolate. They've given up. We're going to have to talk. So what can you do now? You can get involved with. You need to figure out what's happening for Jasper, Hampton County School, depending on where you're at. You need work-based learning opportunities. They call it work-based learning. It's an internship if you're an employer. But these people need a job opportunity while they're still in school before they disappear to create that connection. They want to build a relationship with you, and this is what I'm recommending. Think about how can you make this work. If you've got a great school district, it makes it super easy to use. Like my best practice here is Lexington School District 1. They've got one sheet of paper, we'll make it work. They've started a healthcare partnership with Lexington Medical that is second to none, guaranteed employment after you do 2 years in your career technology center in high school. Then you have a year at Midlands Tech, and you make $60,000 a year as a rad tech or as a surgical tech. And they're also getting ready to add respiratory therapy. A group of concerned citizens sat at the table and in less than 6 months came up with the curriculum and how to do this. You can too. So that's why I share these stories, but the internship is critical. While they're in school, they visit Lexington Medical Center. They do what jobs they're able to do, and even if it's not nursing, they're getting into a career pathway that can lead to nursing and doctor if that's what they want. You have to get creative. This is it. If your school district's harder to deal with, and I don't know, I have no clue, but if they're harder, still do it anyway. Just go and do it. Your group nurse retention people just did something. Still do it. As an employer, you don't have to have people's permission to hire somebody. Just hire a young person anyway. You know who they are. They're at your church. They're waiting on you at Food Lion. They're out there. That's my challenge for you today. And what you do. High school internships are critical to stop the 20% disappearance. College, they're leaving our state because they don't think there's anything here. That nursing retention plan is keeping them here for 2 years. And the statistics are very positive that he shared with me. That is amazing, and that's human beings taking care of human beings because of concern in their community. I will tell you, 40% of our high school graduates and college students, our high school students and college students all have a part-time job. And Marshalls and TJ Maxx, my favorite store in the whole world, they are paying $15 an hour. So you're going to have to come up with some money because they might need that money to put food on their table, help their families. I don't know, but I gave a speech to college students last week at the Columbia Chamber, 130 students from different colleges all over Allen, Benedict, USC, Berry College, Columbia International. I asked 130 kids, how many of you have a job? And 120 raised their hands. Very few did not raise their hand. So they are all working. So these internships need to be paid. And I say, whatever you're spending in advertising on Indeed, put it toward an internship. I think it's money better spent. You're going to have the time to build that relationship, especially if you're really personable and great like all of you are. And they want to know how they're going to network and get to know you, and they want skills. And they came, I said, we're going to do internships at the bridge company. Oh, God, fire up the copier. And I was like, no, they're stuff. So we had them in estimating meetings. I had them do some estimating. We didn't do anything that would hurt a bridge, but we let them do things to see all the different jobs in our company. I had 100% these kids to come back either from UNC Charlotte or from York County Schools or the Mecklenburg County Schools. They want to know that, be aware. This was from Strata. Strata did a study, and they're getting ready to do another one of college students. The main purpose of taking an internship experience was skill acquisition or helping them pursue their career goals. They want to put it on their resume, y'all, so make it worthwhile. The smaller companies have the flexibility to do this. I will leave you with this. Basically, your action plan. Do 1, 2, or all of these things. I don't care. Just do something today to make a difference in the lives of the young people in your community, because they are disappearing either into the system or they're leaving our state. So go read the perceptions report that I shared some of the data with this morning. Please check out our website, future.sc.gov, and get to know your local communities. Y'all are doing it right here. That's why I'm excited. Y'all are already in the room. I don't have to say talk. Y'all were talking great. And I encourage you to, ask the question, and maybe you're struggling, how do we get internships happening in this area? How can we do this for high school students and for college students? And if you'd like, participate in our quarterly meeting with the Coordinating Council for Workforce Development. One of my goals is to make it accessible to everyone. I did not want to come be a part of growing bureaucracy. I wanted to be a part of the solution, and that solution is two-way communication between the public and this entity. And it is very humbling as a member of the voices in our meetings and to know what's important to you. But just remember, we can talk about it in Columbia. If you don't do it, you know you, and I will be here to back you up, support you, give you the data you need, whatever you do. Thank you so much for your time. Oh.
We'll have time for 2 questions. First, I want to thank Judy Evans for being here. That's Rebecca's mom, who is a Beaufort County resident, so thank you. But we'll jump into 2 questions. One has to do with the use of AI. It says people who know how to use AI will succeed beyond the people who are being replaced by it. It could actually increase productivity and everyone could be employed as well. Are you seeing a best practice of where that's being used around the state? Or to your point about skills, areas that are doing a lot in that space?
Well, AI is the buzzword for everybody, and we were talking about it at the college conference last week. And the best thing I can say is don't run from it. But I will tell you that Generation Z is very suspicious of it. My daughter's like, you wouldn't believe who's cheating, and oh my gosh, I don't want them to be my doctor, and it's kind of stuff like that. They're also in college and haven't seen life. I feel like there has to be a balance. I am seeing our higher education institutions in our state and some of our school districts talking about it in the classroom. We might talk about it and talk about its ethical use and how that's balanced. But the schools are doing some of them are doing a better job than others on checking to see if cheating is going on. It's just a huge, it's going to be a paradigm change. Seeing more young people trying to find jobs that aren't impacted by AI. So for those of us that are in construction, that's good news. I would have killed for this news 10 years ago when I was at UIG. But I just think that you need to go ahead and embrace it to the extent that it works for your company and it's ethical, and that you double check, because it does come back with wrong answers, I will tell you that. But I'm a researcher, so I'm always out looking. But I will say education and higher ed is talking about it, and they are now teaching their professors how to teach it and integrate it. And probably one of my best practices is Lander University in Greenwood, South Carolina. They're just really on top of things. Richard Constantino, Dr. Constantino, and Lloyd Willis, who's his dean of technology and business, they're there, and they WD.
Okay. Locally, the Don Ryan Center is doing a lot to understand the applications of that, so do look into that. Last would be, we've seen states and large organizations declassify certain jobs as not requiring a 4-year degree. The question is, what would be the steps small to medium-sized companies in this region might take to audit their current job descriptions to make the change?
Well, that was a lot of what I did in my consulting company. I was helping small to medium-sized companies, and I'd go, last time you updated your job descriptions? And they're like, and some of them copied it off from a competitor. And I made a mistake, y'all. First of all, I read all descriptions, and you can use AI to help you. And this portal will be AI-based. So you can put, I'd like to make this read for Generation Z, and these are the things that we do, and let them help you, but tweak it, make it you. Don't just, cut and paste the name off. But if you haven't updated your job descriptions in the last 5 years, and I would do things like always have a little blurb about you. I'd say, here's a list of exciting things you'll do. It was your task list, but you need to sound a little exciting. Here's some things we need from you, replaces education and experience. But most importantly, y'all, what truly are the skills that are needed? And I was kind of lecturing my favorite little baristas at my Starbucks in West Columbia the other day, because this guy just has the best personality. He calls me the jacket lady. And I'm like, you up in sales, I just know it. And he's precious. And he's like, I'm just a barista. And I said, never say you're just anything. You are working and contributing to the world's work here. But what have you learned as a barista? Well, you've learned great customer service. You can sell, product display. I was like, literally, these are the things you do. That better be on your resume. But also, if you're hiring for a barista, put those things on there. Don't just say customer service. What does that mean? So just be aware that you've got to put the skills, and I would have skills first. And I'm telling our young people, especially on their resumes, usually you have experience first if you're older and wiser like me. But if you're right out of college like my daughter, put your skills first, education second, and then your experience, because you work for us. We were self-employed, it's free labor. I don't recommend it for real employers, but I did for my kid. So anyway, but yeah, I would definitely be updating your job descriptions to make them more appealing. Here's my other thing, my other big ask for y'all. If you're using an applicant tracking software, either turn off the filters or make a point to respond to every single person. I worked at the bridge company, and we had applicant tracking, but it was weeding out a lot of people. And I just said, turn off the filters and let me see what I get, because I was desperate. And if they didn't fit the bill, my goal with my staff and me was that they would get a phone call within 24 hours to let them know, we want to take this to the next level and interview you, or you're not at this time, but thank you so much. And they knew that we were kind and gave them a call. But definitely double check, and if you've got a recruiter that you think might have a little bit of a lazy streak, you might want to just double check behind them too. I don't want to deal with that today. Go check their trash can. I mean, I'm serious. You just don't know what is causing this, but there are so many complaints of they're not applying, and they're saying, I'm applying, and I didn't. I just hired this amazing guy at DEW to head up the port, and he's a genius, but he's down home from Bethune, South Carolina. And he had been looking for a job since April of last year, and we hired him in December. Not one person called him except for us. And I don't see how this happened, but maybe, because I was like, please let it be somebody good. And it was, so maybe it was divine intervention or coincidence, I don't know. But how could somebody with that skill set not get even an interview in 8 months? Mind-blowing. So check your filters on your applicant tracking software.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Give
sir.
a round of applause
Okay.
for Dr. Rebecca Battle-Bryant. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Paul Arventites, CEO of the Don Ryan Center. Here in Bluffton and throughout Beaufort County, we share a powerful belief. Entrepreneurship grows stronger when we grow together. For more than a decade, the Don Ryan Center has helped innovators and small businesses turn ideas into reality. Whether someone is just getting started or scaling an established company to meet increasing demand, we're committed to providing the guidance, resources, and networking they need to thrive. Today, I'm excited to highlight one of our newest and most impactful offerings, the landing pad at the Cove, designed specifically for companies looking to explore Bluffton as a potential home. The Cove is more than just a building. It stands for community, opportunity, vision, and entrepreneurship. It's a place where companies looking to locate to Beaufort County can establish a presence while they explore opportunities in the region. Here, businesses gain access to dedicated workspace, meeting rooms, local connections, and hands-on support from the Don Ryan Center, as well as our partners like Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation, as they evaluate what it means to build a long-term home in southern Beaufort County. For many organizations, choosing where to relocate or expand is a big decision. The Cove makes that decision easier. From providing space for new businesses to open their doors for the first time, to networking with our regional partners and creating a bridge into our community, assisting at every level of need. The Don Ryan Center core programs of startup and growth are designed to meet entrepreneurs' needs at each stage of development. For early stage new businesses, we offer structure, advising, and experienced mentorship to help them start strong and thrive. For more established companies, we can help accelerate growth, refine strategies, and connect them with the resources they need to scale so they can continue to meet the needs of our growing communities. Across every program, one theme remains constant: collaboration. Our mentors, community partners, and fellow entrepreneurs invest in each other's success because we know that shared growth creates a stronger, more resilient regional economy. Beaufort County is a place where innovation and quality of life intersect, and at the Don Ryan Center, we know that no organization builds a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem alone. It takes collaboration, and we are fortunate to work alongside incredible partners who share our vision for Beaufort County's future. From our local chambers of commerce supporting small businesses to the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation attracting new industries, and organizations like the Hispanic Business Association, Small Business Development Center, Beaufort Digital Corridor, and many others, each partner plays a vital role: expand opportunity, lift new businesses, and ensure that entrepreneurship in our region is accessible and community-driven. Together, these partnerships build a stronger, more connected, more diverse, and innovative economy. Whether you're a startup, a growing business, or a company exploring what Bluffton and Beaufort County can offer, we invite you to join this collaborative network. Because when we work together, we don't just support individual businesses, we share the future of our region.
Good morning and welcome back to Converge. I'm here today at Hardeeville's newest industry, Unified Resources and Display, a producer of display cases for retailers around the country. They have recently just begun operations and already have 30 workers on the job, and that number is expected to rise to 100. It is a great showcase, pardon the pun, for what the people of our city, county, and region can expect from Hardeeville's growth. Now, we've all heard that Hardeeville has the highest percentage population growth rate of any municipality in South Carolina. But Hardeeville is so much more. Hardeeville is creating jobs that are better paying than what has been historically available in Jasper County. This past year, TS Conductors announced their opening of a 300,000 square foot building that will house 462 jobs. Now, new residents need more doctors, nurses, and every trade. That's more jobs. The families of Jasper County will have opportunities to improve the quality of their life, and their children can aspire to a range of careers and remain in the homeland of their birth. There are more challenges than just building warehouses and factories that need workers. The goal is to fill those jobs first with the people of Jasper County. To accomplish that, we need to prepare our people and our students with skills needed to fill those jobs. We need to emphasize to our students that they need a high school degree. We need to let all our schools know what skills are needed, and that includes TCL and USCB. Training centers like the Cumming TCL Workforce Training Center can play a huge role. I'm very proud of Hardeeville's initiative to open a training center in our Public Works building that provides certificates in welding, forklift driving, warehouse safety, and a commercial driving license program. Our economic development teams, Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation and the Southern Carolina Alliance, can help. communicate the job skills needed to our training centers before the walls go up, so our residents are ready to apply. Hardeeville has already begun to take an active role. Companies like Unified asked our city manager, Josh Gruber, to connect to our high school principal. And I've had a preliminary conversation with Principal Raley about getting these messages to our high school students. We want our residents to be first in line at the employment offices. Now, rapid growth like Hardeeville comes with great responsibility. Our roads and our utilities must keep pace with the building. We must protect our environmentally sensitive areas. The passage of the 2024 sales tax referendum provides $376 million for roads and $94 million for green space. Trusted partners like Hoyer Investment Group are helping by committing $8 million to improve the intersection of 278 and John Smith Road before building begins on this failing intersection. Now, with 1,200 new single-family homes each year, 3,000 new apartment units starting to build, and millions of square feet of warehouses going up, Hardeeville needs staff, and we have more than doubled our numbers in the past 8 years. But hiring is the easy part. Building a team that believes in our destiny with all rowing in the same direction. Now that's a challenge. I'm proud to say we are meeting that challenge with a cohesive council, a seasoned management team, and a staff who thinks creatively. There is no, we always did it this way. Our mantra is, how can we do it better?
Good morning. Obviously, I'm not Jason. I'll get to that in a moment. But after the main speaker spoke, John asked me to step in for the next 45 minutes to talk about career opportunities in the utility business and go ahead and at least tick us up a few percentages. But now, my name is Trey Hunter with Palmetto Electric. It's an honor to be asked to introduce our next speaker, both from my career at Palmetto Electric, also as vice chairman of the board at Southern Carolina Alliance. It is 30 years SCA has been around working and partnering with counties, local economic development corporations, and municipalities to bring our area to what it is today. Danny Black was going to speak to us this morning. Unfortunately, the bat phone rang from Columbia on a project, and he had to head that direction. But we have Jason with us this morning. And just a little bit about Jason. I don't want to steal too much of his thunder. Jason is the Director of Business Development for Southern Carolina Alliance. The Alliance is over 7 counties, numerous municipalities. Jason cut his teeth in economic development, a long career in North Carolina. Came to us last year so we can teach him how we do it correctly in the right Carolina. And we're glad to have him on the team at Southern Carolina Alliance. And he's a golfer, so that might have had something to do why he came to the neck of the woods. But with that, I'd like to introduce Jason Semple to talk about SCA.
Since 1996, the organization known as Southern Carolina Alliance has been leading our region in economic development. Over 30 years of escalating achievement, the Alliance has been directly involved in creating more than $4.14 billion in private capital investment and more than 14,000 jobs in a largely rural area. This solid, consistent record of accomplishment has brought many accolades and even some national recognition, but more importantly, it has attracted more investment to our region. Our region is poised for unprecedented success as we enter our 30th year of operation. From the construction of the new Exit 3 and I-95 in Jasper County to the incredible investment by private developers and partners along the U.S. Highway 17 corridor at Exit 5 and beyond, we now have more than 19 million square feet of new facilities in construction to attract investment from companies around the globe. Southern Carolina Alliance is proud that this development has been accompanied by robust investment in infrastructure and careful planning by our partners at the local, state, and federal levels, preparing our region for prosperity while maintaining our unparalleled quality of life in the most naturally beautiful area of our country. Our success has included attracting investment from 2 Fortune 500 companies on the I-95 corridor in Colleton and Jasper counties in the last 5 years. In 2025, we also announced TS Conductor, a manufacturer and technology leader for next-generation advanced conductors, investing $134 million and creating 462 new jobs in Jasper County. The first manufacturer in the advanced energy sector to be announced in South Carolina since the state was designated as a technology hub for energy and resilience, TS Conductor is the largest single economic development announcement in Jasper County's history and the state's jewel in South Carolina's Nexus Technology Hub. Companies that have invested in our region over the last few years include leaders in innovation in other industry sectors as well, including the internationally touted Agriculture Technology Campus, or ATC, located at the Southern Carolina Industrial Campus at Exit 38 in Hampton County, where they will use state-of-the-art technology to produce organic tomatoes and leafy greens year-round, with packaging and processing facilities to serve the entire East Coast. Harvest House, the leader in agribusiness innovation in the Netherlands, will be spearheading this technology. Across from the Agriculture Technology Campus, Le Creuset, the renowned international brand leader manufacturing premium cookware, just completed their 320,000 square foot expansion at their North American distribution headquarters at the Lowcountry Industrial Park in Hampton County. Our region also continues to be a leader in the sustainable green industries of the forest product sector, as we have recruited more than $1 billion of investment and hundreds of direct jobs in recent years. The latest is Hampton Lumber Company, a family-owned producer of building products from Oregon, that announced their $225 million investment in a state-of-the-art sawmill in Allendale County, creating 125 direct jobs and supporting hundreds of indirect jobs in our region. In 2025, the organization brought prospects to the region that resulted in an array of diverse industrial development from other sectors. In Beaufort County, SCA recruited CS Instruments, a German manufacturer of and global leader in precision measurement technology. The company selected Bluffton to construct their U.S. headquarters, customer experience, and warehousing centers. In Colleton County, SCA recruited QMP, a California company locating their first East Coast manufacturing facility for water filtration systems, creating 233 jobs. In Bamberg County, SCA recruited Black Horse Steelworks, a manufacturer of structural steel, now hiring highly skilled and highly paid welders. Another win for Bamberg County in 2025 was Circular Composite Solutions, a manufacturer of sustainable industrial shipping pallet components, which announced a $53.7 million investment, creating 70 new jobs through a proprietary technology that prolongs the life of shipping products while recycling and reducing wood waste. In Barnwell County, Southern Carolina Alliance brought in Barnwell Tissue Solutions, creating 50 jobs, using recycled paper, which will be converted into away-from-home tissue products. The company, another great sustainable manufacturer, is already in operation. These diverse projects are some of the 16 companies that SCA worked in 2025, culminating in over $500 million in private capital investment and 1,144 direct jobs announced in last year alone. What do all these projects have in common? The use of new technology, global reach, and the right workforce. Companies like these are choosing the Southern Carolina Alliance region repeatedly and more frequently because our regional collaboration has resulted in the right product development, assets, and infrastructure. SCA is proud of our role in bringing these critical assets together to win projects like these for 3 decades.
It is exciting. 30 years, Southern Carolina Alliance, the largest economic development organization in our region. It's a great time for us to shine. So together, our 7 counties comprise one of the most dynamic alliances on the East Coast.
It doesn't matter which county wins, we all win. And so working together as a group, you've got a lot more firepower than you do working as an individual county. So it means a lot to us. It means a good qualified staff that each county could not afford by themselves. We've had a lot of successes in our region because SCA is working.
Over 30 years, Palmetto Electric has been proud to partner with Southern Carolina Alliance. Not only us, other cooperatives, Edisto Electric Cooperative, Coastal Electric Cooperative, and many other power providers, along with our economic development partners at the Power Team, work to bring in industry and improve the lives of those we serve. It's a cooperative model, but it's also SCA's unofficial model.
The Southern Carolina Alliance with the 7-county region has been able to pool all of our resources to not only attract industry here, but to also collaborate with other entities to train our workers. And I have been excited that Southern Carolina has, since 2020, been able to create income for our area in a tune of $2.2 billion. And we have created over 7,100 jobs. That's keeping our folks here in the region.
Well, if you listen to Governor McMaster, he often says that it's about the people of South Carolina because you can come in, you can do business with just a handshake. You can trust who you're dealing with. And I think that's so important, and the Southern Carolina Alliance understands that it's the relationships and getting people comfortable with doing business here. And that's one of the great things and advantages of having a good alliance team working for you, because they're the first point of contact to establish those relationships. And they've done a wonderful job over the past 30 years doing exactly that thing.
Yeah, I've been in South Carolina now for 41 years, and so I've got a pretty good perspective on, where economic development happens in South Carolina and why. 20 years ago, Greenville-Spartanburg corridor, that was where all the buzz was. The last 10 years, you've seen incredible growth in the Charleston area, Berkeley, Dorchester, Charleston counties. The next 10 years, I'm convinced, are going to be the Southern Carolina Alliance counties years. We've got everything in place. We've got a great delegation up there in Columbia. We've got great product. We've got access to a port. We've got access to rail and to an interstate system and international airport. We have all the components for economic development, and it's our turn.
With this kind of success, the next 30 years look even brighter for the Southern Carolina Alliance region. It's truly our time to shine.
Good morning, folks. All right, I'm going to move this around here. It's a pleasure to join you this morning. Happy to share some of the exciting things. You saw a good many of them, and I'm going to talk about a little bit more here in just a second. First, I'd like to thank the Beaufort EDC team, John, Kelly, Brian, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for all the coordination it takes to pull off these events and for allowing us to share some of the work that we're doing. And while they're going to be sharing some of the specific Beaufort County accomplishments and some of the work that they're doing, we're happy to share some of the other things going on in our other 6 counties. But first, I'd like to recognize the SCA board members who are here today, many from Beaufort and Jasper counties, and other folks. If you will please stand and smile for the audience. Please recognize all my bosses in the room. Thank you. All right, don't be shy. Thank you. Thank you. All right, yes, there. Got a straggler in the back, thank you. In the previous video, and thank you to Gracie and our marketing team for putting together such a good presentation. You heard about some of our achievements in SCA, which are indeed impressive for a region that has a lot of rural areas. Remarkably, more than half of that success has been since 2020. That success is not just a happy accident. It did not happen organically. There is a reason that the investment in job numbers have climbed so steeply over the past 6 years. It's a direct result of intentional efforts, intention, a culmination of regional partnership, statewide collaboration, and careful planning to craft a better future for our communities. As Trey said, we are celebrating 30 years. Began a long time ago in 1996 when we were created to help our struggling communities diversify their economies. In the beginning, our strategy was to recruit a high number of smaller projects so that our communities were not dependent upon one major employer. So we immediately focused on developing the right industrial assets to attract these projects. Product. Those of us in Been doing economic development for a while and know that you must have superior product to be in the economic development game. And with the support of our private, public sector partners, our rural region is now known for developing first-class industrial parks and buildings. And we have done it in a deliberate and thoughtful way to attract the appropriate kind of investment and development in each of our communities. The first park we developed was a South Carolina Advanced Technology Park in Barnwell County, where to date we have recruited more than $500 million in private investment, created more than 500 jobs. Currently, we have several transformative projects going on for this park, a lot of which I can't talk about, as you all know, but we're hoping to have an announcement later this year that will bring significant and transformative investment into that community. Since the beginning, we have developed and marketed parks focused on both manufacturing and distribution to accommodate a diverse range of industries, both large and small. And in all of the counties where we have directed the development of sites and buildings, we have successfully attracted private jobs and investment. Today's global economy will demand even more of SEA and its partners, many of whom are in this room today. We must apply innovation at every turn to get results-driven progress. Of course, a critical factor in recruiting companies to our region is workforce, which we have heard Rebecca talk a lot about today. It's critical in our economic development efforts, both for recruitment and retention. And that's why we've been leading a regional workforce collaborative, the first of its kind in the state, bringing together partners at the local, state, and federal levels to train our workforce for critical jobs in our region. This pilot program provides a variety of training courses such as CDL, CNC machining, and welding. We are now accepting applications, and classes are due to begin on March 2nd, and this will be at our facility. We've taken an old building, repurposed it into a place that will house these classes in Allendale County. We just take the same innovative approach that we've applied to economic development and workforce development to meet the challenges of current and future technology, energy, and transportation demands. That's why SEA is a partner in the SC Nexus Consortium, South Carolina's hub for energy innovation, resilience, and security. With more than half our state's electricity safely generated by nuclear energy, South Carolina has both the experience and the infrastructure needed to lead an energy and nuclear renaissance to provide sufficient energy for the future. And our region will be leading the way. I applaud Senator Davis's efforts to address our state and nation's growing needs for affordable, reliable power for residents, industries, and technology companies. By working quickly to put appropriate policies in place, we will be better prepared to attract investment to our state. And as many of you know, new power generation plants and infrastructure are already in works throughout our region. The Kennedy Station in Colleton County is a 2,200 megawatt, $5 billion natural gas plant led by Santee Cooper and Dominion Energy. Proposed 71-mile natural gas pipeline will run from the South Carolina-Georgia line to the new plant in Colleton County, largely following existing footprints for utility corridors. Our grid is under strain. From all of the growth we have attracted in South Carolina, we are indeed a victim of our own success and our own competence. The new power generation infrastructure will be critical for future progress. In addition to energy, SEA is also involved in transportation. The residents of Defusky Island reached out to SCA a little while ago to help find an innovative solution to the challenges of their island transportation system. The project has evolved to include other partners, of course, Beaufort EDC, SCDOT, and many partners at the local and state levels. As a result, SEA is now funding and leading the South Carolina Coastal Marine Transportation Study, which examines a maritime transportation system for our entire region and beyond, utilizing South Carolina's coastal waterways to transport visitors, hospitality workers, residents, and cargo in an affordable, efficient way, lessening the burden on our highways. Another 2026 initiative for us looks to aerospace, which has long been part of our regional marketing efforts. Building on the work of our Beaufort EDC partners at the Southern Carolina Landing Pad in Beaufort, We have expanded our marketing program to include the emerging advanced air mobility sector as a target for the entire region for 2026. Our associates were in Japan last week meeting with prospective companies, and we expect to have some active projects in the region in the next quarter. And perhaps with the golfing season upon us, the Heritage is upon us, you might meet some of them at the RBC Heritage in April. Indeed, the beauty and hospitality of Beaufort County is something that we tout when we are talking to prospective companies. As a former North Carolina resident, having just come here, it's easy for me to lay outside eyes on the community that we have here. I'm a resident of Bluffton, and indeed, Beaufort County is a jewel, and we are happy to promote that as a wonderful place to live and work. But we're just meeting, not just during Heritage Week, but we're meeting with prospective companies throughout the year. And through our regional lead generation program, we reach out to thousands of companies every year. In 2025, we've met with more than 200, resulting in another banner year for our region. The results speak for themselves. Our hard work at SCA and collaboration with local and state partners has brought in new companies all over our geographic footprint. In 2025, SCA was directly involved in announcing more than $500 million of private investment and 1,144 jobs. And 2026 looks even more promising. Innovation, energy, collaboration. These are the elements required to create success in the new global economy. It's not easy, and we don't do it alone. It takes a team effort, and a lot of those partners are in this room today. It takes a team effort to make all of these life-changing results happen in our communities. Thank you to our SCA board members. Thank you to the Beaufort EDC staff. We look forward to working more with you in 2026. Thank you again for your time this morning, and I believe we're taking questions at the end. All right. Thank you for your time.
Good morning and welcome to Converge 2026. I'm Mayor Phil Cromer of the City of Beaufort, and in keeping with this year's theme of People First, Progress Together, I believe that Beaufort's growth and workforce future is very bright because of three major strengths that we have: our people, our partnerships, and our quality of life. We have a unique mix of military and small businesses that creates a steady pipeline of skilled, disciplined workers, such as our veterans, our transitioning service members, and their military spouses, while we're also supporting the creativity and flexibility of our small business community. This shapes a workforce strategy that focuses on skills, certifications, and preparing our residents for both technical careers and entrepreneurial success. The city itself is investing in attracting and retaining talented public employees through improved recruitment, competitive compensation, and clear career pathways. And as technology evolves, we're ensuring our employees are trained to use these new tools confidently, which strengthens our city services and prepares the organization for the future. Beaufort's strong sense of community and exceptional quality of life continue to draw professionals from around the country. People want to be here because it feels like home, our natural beauty, the short commute, and a culture that values service and connection. That lifestyle advantage is one of our most powerful workforce tools. What gives us the most optimism, though, is the momentum we're building in partnerships with the Technical College of the Lowcountry, USC Beaufort, the school district, our local employers, the South Carolina Cyber Center, and the Beaufort Digital Corridor, among others. This collaboration is opening new career pathways for our young people and adults, and the consistent pool of military talent choosing to make Beaufort their home after service. In short, our workforce is growing stronger because we're investing in people. We're embracing innovation, and we're preserving our community where families want to live, work, and serve. That combination, I believe, positions us extremely well for the years ahead. Here's to a wonderful Converge 2026.
Hi, I'm Alan Perry, Mayor of Hilton Head Island. People first, progress together means several things. It's recognition that our past must inform our future. As a community, we must respect and better understand where we came from to move forward together. Progress doesn't happen without people, and people have lots of valid, worthy perspectives to consider in the name of progress. Progress isn't just for the sake of progress. We must be strategic, intentional, relevant, and innovative, with people at the center of every decision we make. People are the backbone of our island economy. Hospitality, small business, public safety, entrepreneurs, and emerging industries. We must continue to prioritize transportation, competitive wages, workforce housing, training, and education, and measure our success beyond growth in these areas. Our success will also depend upon improvements we can make in the prosperity and quality of life for our workforce. People First is also reflective of our longtime residents and reminds us that we must preserve our high quality of life. Preserving cultural continuity are central to our island's character. Like many coastal communities, we continuously navigate a set of challenges that influence our long-term competitiveness. Cost of living continues to outpace local wages. Most of our local workforce, approximately 60%, do not live on Hilton Head Island, and long commutes can have a negative impact on workforce retention. Workforce housing on our island remains an urgent need for sustaining hospitality, healthcare, public safety, and our year-round industries. Limited public transportation, seasonal congestion, and reliable transportation options pose long-term threats to workforce viability, and we also have a shrinking pool of a younger workforce for the primary industries here. We know it takes a village, and no single organization can solve this challenge alone. We will continue to work closely with Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation, Gullah Geechee Historic Neighborhood Community Development Corporation, local nonprofits, and private sector community investors to tackle specific challenges, and we must strengthen our partnership with USCB, TCL, and workforce training programs to help our workforce pipeline. We just signed the ground lease for North Point at Jarvis Creek, a new multifamily workforce housing neighborhood offering activities, programs, and amenities designed to help its residents connect with each other. With proximity to the Island Recreation Center, the Boys and Girls Club, our public schools, as well as town parks and pathways. We'll break ground on this exciting development in February 2026. As part of the public-private partnership, the town provided a 65-year ground lease, $1 million to support eligible site work with contributions secured from the American Rescue Plan, affordability covenants to maintain a workforce neighborhood in perpetuity, zoning elements, long-term programming, support, and overall vision. One Street Residential's LLC's role involves design, permitting, financing, project management, construction, lease-up, long-term programming, and property management. A longtime supporter of Hilton Head Island's economic development through the annual RBC Heritage Golf Tournament, South Carolina's premier PGA Tour event, the RBC Community Investment Program provides the financial tools and resources necessary to begin construction on the neighborhood in the months ahead. Based on Beaufort County's 2025 AMI, a family of three could earn between $59,520 and $148,800 to qualify to live at North Point, enjoy amenities and programs that prioritize high quality of life. North Point is unique among workforce housing related developments nationwide because it will consist entirely of workforce housing, and residents must be employed on Hilton Head Island to live there. Teachers, first responders, law enforcement, hospitality workers, skilled tradesmen, and healthcare providers are just some examples of who will live there. The eligibility criteria ensures accessibility for a wide range of essential workers on the island. Housing and transportation are foundational to the success of our future. Updating land management policies, expanding public-private partnerships, supporting private sector workforce housing solutions, continuing to advance William Hilton Parkway Gateway Corridor Master Plan to improve on-island and off-island mobility. We must advance this initiative. To build that workforce for tomorrow, we must build a strong community today. To deliver excellent service to our community and reinforce the connection, environmental sustainability, belonging and well-being, and high quality of life that our island is known for, it is Town Council's responsibility to set a strategic direction that stays true to the core values and meets the needs of our community. We must always remember that servant leadership and true collaboration is modeled, not just talked about. We are optimistic about Hilton Head Island's resilience, our people, our history, our culture. Our future is bright if we work together and remain committed to Hilton Head Island. There's a lot to be proud of and a lot to work toward. A new generation of talent is emerging. Strong partnerships with our regional partners, local nonprofits. We are addressing the policy hurdles. This community is committed to its future. With all of that said, Our town council, our town staff, we all know that it is imperative for Hilton Head Island's future that we pay attention to our future economic development, our housing needs, and our employment needs. Hilton Head Island is a special place, and we invite you to take a look at Hilton Head when you're looking to grow your business. We have a lot to offer. The quality of life, as stated before, is second to none to any others. So please, look at Hilton Head Island for your future economic development needs.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, mayors. Thank you, Alice Howard, for sharing your perspective as we head into 2026. You know, when I first spoke, probably at our first Converge 7 years ago, we were trying to create a brand, simple, swift, and certain. Now, being in the Lowcountry here, simple, swift, and certain isn't always easily accomplished. So, but what it reminds me of something I heard this Sunday is that perseverance is a wonderful virtue. And what I would like to do is share with you a little story. Following Christmas this year, we came back into the office, and we were contacted by a company in Beaufort, and this story could be told everywhere. So about people getting in the batter's box and hitting the ball. So we come back from Christmas break that Monday, and we're contacted by an owner of a company investing $35 million in the city of Beaufort. Now, it's a calamity of errors of the current construction company not paying its vendors, liens being on the property. Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer was like, well, those things have to be cleared up before we set a meter. A lot of things going on. So I reached out to the city manager, Scott Marshall. He got John Badgett, the fire marshal, and Bruce Skipper involved. We reached out to our old friend, young but old, Charlie Stone at Beaufort Jasper. And it turned out one of the real hang-ups to getting this certificate of occupancy, which the owner was telling us if they didn't get that certificate of occupancy by midnight, New Year's Eve, that they would lose $7 million, more than $7 million. So we want to help them, but at every turn, something's messed up. And so we're talking about it with Scott Marshall's staff. And Kelly goes, well, the state fire marshal lives in Manning. And so all roads we find lead back to Manning, working with Kelly. But she goes, and I know the fire marshal's father, Carter Jones. I think I spoke to him outside of church one Sunday, or met with him when he was down here in Beaufort County. In any case, she calls him up and says, Carter, I met you here. My understanding is your son's the fire marshal. He said, my son's out of state, but I'll give you the cell phone of the deputy fire marshal. And so we're working on this, but every day, every 2 hours, some fact changes. And I hope I'm not insulting anyone in the room, but I think Scott could attest that this is from the perspective we saw it. But we couldn't get, everything was just, there weren't the right size pipes, everything was a mess, and we're doing everything we can to be simple, swift, and certain, and helpful. And it gets to be that afternoon, New Year's Eve, and staff went home at noon. They had a half day. And Scott goes, we've done everything, and Scott's calling me hourly and saying, we've done everything we can. We can't get it done. The owner of the company's driving back to Florida, defeated. And at 6:40, Scott calls me and says, miracles of miracles, the meter's been set, and Bruce Skipper has given them a certificate of occupancy, and a temporary certificate of occupancy. But this is a municipal employee who was told he was free to enjoy his time with family. I imagine Scott was having, I think, dinner with friends that night, and everyone kept working on it. And that's what economic development is. I'm thankful that Kelly has such far-reaching connections, but we just stick with it. We were on a project yesterday where it looks like it's in the ashes, and economic development is persevering and digging that that project out of the ashes and make sure it continues. At the end of the project, we sat in the city administrator's office, and the owner said, well, what can I do for you? I think he was thinking I would say give money to the symphony or donate money to our organization. We said, and you will see next year, he will be our poster child, because the best person to talk about their experience of doing business in the area is somebody who had a good experience. So I really, while I'm talking about the city of Beaufort, I know as I look at Hilton Head, or I look at Bluffton, or Port Royal, or Yemassee, or Hardyville, there are people who, it's kind of cliche right now to say, oh, nobody cares. People do care, and they're working into their family time to get things done. And we were very grateful for it. If you do see Charlie, let him know I spoke favorably of his efforts. So with that, we'll jump into this. And oh my gosh, the county council is here. Every time I'm before him, I mess up with the clicker. So here's to hoping. When we look at what we're able to do here and even through the years, we are really grateful to our sponsors. In particular, the Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce and its ambassadors, because we've, for many years, been a staff of 2 or 3. So to get this done, we're very grateful to them. Mindflint is our communications company. Nate Schaub up here in the front, but his team, Jen, Maddie, and Ann. SK Signs, you see Sean running around with the camera, but it really helps us. Our friends with WHHI are here, and we'll get into that a little later. It's all good, Catherine. The county channel for being here and getting our message out to our residents who would like to know what we're doing. Sun City for being a great host. The Downtown Deli, and the team I get to work with are excellent. Kelly from Manning, Brian Warner, and Luke Stockton. Where is Luke? He was guarding the pastries last I saw him. There he is. He moves around. Thank you, Luke. Luke is our intern, and we're grateful to have him. We have a great board of directors. They're engaged and thoughtful. If you went to our last meeting, there was spirited conversation, and I'd be happy to tell you about it afterwards. But we believe that with this engagement, that we are a better board. I'm going to call out one of our board members, Greg Shelton, who is our treasurer, who prepared us for our first audit and really holds us to task in terms of making sure that our operations are tight and that we have procedures. And thank you, Greg. But thanks to our entire board. Now, we heard from Rebecca Battle-Bryant. I felt bad for Jason coming right up after her, because he might have looked like he was low energy, and I have the same, her energy's still in the room, so I might look like I'm in a coma. But she brings home a really good point. It really is about the people. You've heard me say it before, that if there's something we're passionate about and why we try to be good at economic development is because we believe it changes the lives of families. And that's what motivates us sometimes to put up with the agita and the aggravation, because if we stay focused on this, I think we get to do something very spiritually rich, if you will. Motivating people is essential. Consider the cost as an employer of having to hire somebody new versus just having that piece that Rebecca spoke about of having a reputation of treating people well, so that you're a desired employer. People want to stay with you. And when you bring somebody else on, there's a cost to that. I've mentioned it before, but I'll suggest you read a book by John Stallworth. It's STAHL-WERT. But he speaks about the servant leader. Mayor Perry just mentioned it. But you look at the next generation, people want to run towards great purpose. They don't want to just sit in a cubicle 8 hours and go home. So making sure everyone's read in on what you're doing. Upending the pyramid as leaders, I don't think it's that important for the president or whatever to have that closest parking lot, parking space. What you really want are the people who work for you and with you to feel like you would move mountains to make their job, and you're not above going to get the sandwiches or whatever. Raise the bar is part of it too. While a lot of this is soft and human, at the same time as leaders, we have to raise the bar and performance. If there are obstacles, removing obstacles and build on strength. So there used to be a thing where you do the review and you're like, this is wrong, and this is wrong. I use the basketball analogy that you wouldn't want to put a 5'7" guy in the center position. You want that person probably to handle the ball and be a shooter on the outside. So putting people in a place where they can succeed. When you look at Beaufort County and you look at all the elections coming up this year, there are a lot of competing forces, and I'll attempt to describe what you have in your program there. But you have conservation, which we all care dearly about. You have housing, and that's market rate housing, competing for what's left in terms of land. You have commercial and retail development, and then economic development. We consider that where we're creating jobs, again, where people can, in a dignified way, provide for their families. And so all of these things are competing. We remain steadfast on our wheel, our balance wheel here in Beaufort County. Environment being the main spoke at the top, education, economic development, workforce, housing, and transportation have to be a focus. So as we move forward as a community, not just our elected officials, although I think with so many people up for election this year, it'll be important to kind of communicate with your elected officials. And I would say that our local elections are probably the more important. While we all watch cable TV, I believe what happens at the local level is the most important. But we have to be intentional as a community how we balance that. And example would be in the past year, we looked at purchasing 500 acres. When we looked at the 500 acres, they were largely wet. And so we walked through that whole process with the Open Land Trust and the State Land Bank. And in the end, with our due diligence, they were able to get the land for significantly less. We did an event survey prior to today and asked folks what their priorities were. And interestingly enough, we had a significant response, nearly 20% of the 470 registered. Workforce development, obviously, with Rebecca Battle-Bryant here, you probably self-selected because you were interested in the topic. Community development, which is interesting. Entrepreneurship and small business, real estate development and reuse, services to existing businesses, and marketing and attraction. What I'll do today is try to tie this all together. If I don't tie it together, I'll stay around and answer questions. You could say, what did you mean by that? But it should be pretty obvious. In terms of the sectors that people believe have hold the most promise, healthcare, cyber, bio, life sciences, cyber security, and aerospace were at the top. I would say on healthcare, cybersecurity, and aerospace, we're gaining a lot of traction. The state of South Carolina and the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation, as well as SCA, are getting more involved in the bio and life sciences. And if you visit our website, you'll see information on that. That was also highlighted by Greg Robinson at our event in Prosperity and Practice, how for an area that is concerned about the environment, bio and life sciences can give you great impact in terms of investments and jobs without having detrimental environmental impact. So we'll get into that. This is a model of economic development, and we're going to have an elected officials retreat on March 5th to really dig into what is economic development in Beaufort County and what it has been and what it should be going forward. But this model was designed by Dr. Ned Hill at The Ohio State. I know football matters a lot here. He just teaches there. It's no offense to anybody's favorite football program, whether you're a Tiger or a Dog or whatever. But the key is we really focus on the right side of this economic development model, which is sales, goods, and services by the companies we're dealing with. And on the lower right would be jobs, taxes, and people's income. And that's the people side. The point of this model is to really focus on these other aspects when you're not doing deals, and Jason kind of touched on it as well when he emphasized products. So at the top here, you have commercial industrial real estate. And in that section, site identification and inventory, and we try to do that on our website. Brownfield redevelopment, we're going to be doing that in Lebico. Grant incentive alignment, and that's an interesting point because we had just gone through that in the last year with County Council. Infrastructure coordination is in that sector, site marketing and promotion, project facilitation, and then broker and developer engagement, and we try to work in those areas when we're not doing deals. The community development would be infill and redevelopment. Workforce, what we're trying to do, and you heard a lot on that, is increase employment opportunities, upskill, reskill, and understand employers' needs. Let's just see, in housing, and I'll get into this in a few slides, but is closing the gap. And again, Mayor Perry in the last video underscored that. And then also in economic development, entrepreneurial pathways, the Don Ryan Center, the Beaufort Digital Corridor, E4All, Blackwitty. These are groups that are doing a lot in that space. So we're really blessed to have such great partners in that space. Just to give you an idea, within the economic development, business retention and expansion is also key. Just to give you two examples, we met with a company on Hilton Head the end fourth quarter, and we found out that in 3 quarters, due to we'll call it tariff ambiguity, this company that had $8 million in sales the year before hasn't had a sale in 3 quarters. Now, what can we do with that? We can't really change federal policy, but we can make sure that our congressperson, our governor, our U.S. senators know that this company is experiencing that. So that's kind of a difficult one. One that Brian's working on, Kelly's working from the helicopter side, Brian's working from the manufacturer side. We have a Philadelphia helicopter company looking to locate into the region, and they would need some manufacturing capacity. Brian, through his BR&E efforts, business recruitment and expansion, business retention and expansion. My staff rolls their eyes when I mess up words. Don't you do it. But business retention and expansion, I found out that this company, their sales are down and they have manufacturing capacity in their facility. So we're putting those two companies together. So that's a lot on that. What I wanted to do is give you a sense of where we are as a region, because I think sometimes people are like, well, what are we doing and are we making a difference and how do we stand up? So when you look at since 2020, essentially since the pandemic, our job growth over those 5 years is well above South Carolina in this MSA. We're well above the U.S. average. And moving ahead, how do we stack up against other MSAs in South Carolina over that 5-year period? Obviously, Myrtle Beach and Charleston. You know, and you can look at growth 2 ways. It can be a metric for how you're doing, and for people in Beaufort County, it also can be concerning because how that growth manifests itself, and can the infrastructure support it? Going back to our balance wheel, don't forget about, we'll talk about housing shortly, but don't forget about transportation, because if you came over, anyone ride over from Beaufort, Port Royal today, raise your hand. Some challenges, some traffic challenges? Yeah, okay. Rebecca's mother is smiling and says, yes, that's all we need to know. Okay. But as you look at it, our growth is better than Greenville, Columbia, Spartanburg, Florence, Sumter. So we have had growth. So when we look at the year we're in right now, we have some just under $60 million in investments, 160 jobs, and note the average income is up significantly, and we'll get into that in a second. We also, obviously, real estate absorbed, but the grants, and I do want to emphasize the grants because sometimes, and on the next slide, people have palpitations when they see the grants we've gotten. I'll describe these and then we'll go to the next slide. But of the $305,000 in grants this year, $200,000 came from the Department of Commerce for pad development, and $75,000 came from Dominion Energy to assist with that pad development. So essentially, no, I'm going to be challenged with my math, but 30,000 was local grants to a company. So now when people, let's jump right back down to the grants. So when people look at our success over the last 7 years, we're inching up on $1 billion of investments, that projects that we've been involved with, some 3,200 jobs. But let's jump down, as I said, to the incentives. People see 32 million and they'll ask their county council person, oh my gosh, they've given 32 million. No, only 1.5 million over those 7 or 8 years have come from county funds. The balance are incentives from the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Commerce, and so on, and UTCs from Palmetto Electric or Dominion. So also, people say, well, economic development, you're bringing in jobs, but are they good paying jobs? So we actually graphed the jobs over this 5-year period, and since our fiscal year, just so you know, begins in July and ends in June, but 5 years ago we were at 46,000. Today we're at 87. Now there'll probably be jobs that come in the balancing year, and we'll bring that average down. You'll see a spike there in 2025. A lot of those were healthcare, but we want to be really transparent. But if you look at that trend, the increase in compensation has gone up 90% over those 5 years. So I hope as people who come to Converge and want to understand what we're working on, that gives you some comfort. And so just taking the number of jobs times the average compensation, we're at $167,000 in compensation. So that, you know, there's an expression, it really belongs to Richard Blackwell, but he says that when you do economic development well, you change the branches in family trees. And that's why we are persistent on a New Year's Eve or every day of the year. Just to bring you up to speed, this is a property that we bought in April of last year. This is the one that the audit said that we classified as an asset and should have been classified as a contingent asset, corrected in seconds. But this is an excellent site. All the infrastructure's there. It has all of the due diligence is complete on it, right, Brian? Okay, good. And the proximity to the Marine Corps Air Station and the recruit depot, where we have 900 transitioning Marines a year, make it an ideal location. Next up, in July, we purchased 117 acres. We're in the midst of doing due diligence. The next cycle with the EPA, we'll be applying for some funds there. What we're looking at there, we just made a trip. We've been in close contact with the Waddell Maricultural Center, but we're looking at recirculated aquatic systems, essentially indoor fisheries. I may have told you this before, but the world needs 58 million tons of fish protein by 2030. And so to feed the world, this is something we're looking at. I did meet with Craig Reeves, a fisherman, and he thought this made perfect sense. So that was my litmus test on this project. We are also looking on this campus, we've tagged it the Enviro Track, because anything we do up there, it's in Gerald Dawson's district. Gerald, are you still here? There you are. We want to make sure that we are really sensitive to the environmental impacts. But one thing we're looking at also, and we have meetings this afternoon with a group that has knowledge on development of meat processing at this location as well. But again, we're looking for minimal impact. We have a group that stepped forward. I believe the gentleman's still here. But our board approved unanimously the development of a 72,000 square foot spec building. This will be going to the City of Beaufort City of Beaufort's council and county council in the coming weeks. And it's a similar model to the first spec building, and that building was fully occupied within 1 year of breaking ground and prior to its certificate of occupancy. Another project, we have their letter of intent to buy parcel D in the Beaufort Commerce Park. This would be a $6.6 million investment. We think that can go up because they're really not happy with their main facility in Albany, New York. But again, good jobs in an industry where they're looking to bring some of their capacity back from Mexico. Moving along, this is an interesting project, Project Cutter. Coast Guard put out a request for information. It's a great project because it's really a lot of people collaborating. And as I stand before you as the Executive Director of the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation, we believe people work with us time and time again because we humbly pursue it. Brian Warner on our staff really took a lot of impact from the Beaufort Chamber of Commerce, from the Military Enhancement Committee, from the, oh goodness, don't fail me now, from the Defense Community Partnership Task Force, and took all that information and put a request in. Now, we knew at the beginning of this process that a site in Alabama had the inside track on it. We're thinking Coast Guard, 250 miles inland. We must have an argument to be made here. And so we got our submission. Warren Parker and Megan Morris secured letters of support from Henry McMaster, Senator Scott, Senator Graham, Representative Mace, Tom Davis, Alice Howard, all submitted support letters. And today, we know we're not really supposed to get this project, but go to Google today and say, Google, where should the Coast Guard build its next training facility? We're beating the algorithms. Please do this today. Ask Google. But right now, Google will tell, hopefully, some bureaucrat in the Coast Guard or Homeland Security that they really belong in Beaufort. We did an economic impact on this project. It would have a $300 million a year impact, create over 2,200 direct and indirect jobs across all of those nearly 60,000 in compensation. So, and what's interesting is, you know, late last night I got a email from Mr. McGee, a Beaufort County resident, who gives us a lot of great input. Yesterday afternoon, I spoke to a retired Coast Guard admiral who would be part of our pitch. He lives in Hilton Head Plantation, but he would be part of our pitch team. And I should mention that we received letters of support from every mayor in the county in support of that project as well. By the way, last night I was working in my office on this presentation, and my wife, I came into the bedroom, and my wife goes, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "I was running through my presentation," and she said, "Don't be boring." So I hope I'm following her advice, but you can tell me afterwards. We'll rattle through a few more slides, and we'll have you out of here on time. The Cove at the, which is an extension of the Don Ryan Center, is a 14,000 square foot, 14.7, I think, Paul, 14.7 square foot facility. 2 weeks ago, Blackwoody, Akila Akins, had her ribbon cutting. She is a graduate of the Blackwoody program, and boy, we were really proud to see a great project from the town and the great project from Blackwoody come together to provide. You know, when you look at workforce, they'll talk about child care, but it's really dependent care as time goes on. And for Aquila to shine like that and walk through our facility, I was really happy and proud. Paul, Evan, Kristen, and David, thanks for the work you do. When we look at our landing pads, and just to give you an idea, Jason touched on this, but we, in the Beaufort landing pad, we have a SkyDrive is still operating out of the landing pad. We have the lead generator that's working with SCA in the landing pad there. We have a cutting-edge aerospace company. The third and fourth bullets are the same company. The company is from the West Coast. They have their sales division's going to be leasing space in the Cove from the Don Ryan Center, and the propulsion unit is leasing space in the Beaufort landing pad. And what are they finding? While this company has announced that it's really going to grow in North Carolina, what they're finding is that they're going to have these centers of excellence, and they're finding that they can hire the talent they need from Boeing and Gulfstream. And so we are positioned as a county for them to wake up one day and realize they don't have 7 or 10 employees, but they have 35 employees in Beaufort, and we look to have them do something more significant down the road. But the jobs that we are getting are great jobs. Adjacent to the Cove, Tim Dolnick is putting up 35,000 square feet. Jason touched on this. We're really happy. You know, when you look at CS Instruments and Spartina, we do think our region is going to be ideal for headquarters. We worked just in a support role with the town of Hilton Head, but we're really happy to see Novant building 25,000 square feet on the former Classic Motors site, and with a plan to potentially add another 15,000 square feet, $25 million investment, 50 great paying jobs. And what the Clemson Economic Impact Report showed us was it would be about $8 million a year in compensation, and both direct and indirect, and an output of nearly $20 million in our local economy, just as one project. We applaud the town of Hilton Head and 1 Street and Royal Bank of RBC, I'll call them. Is it Royal Bank of Canada and their Community Investment Division. They had a great ribbon cutting out there. And we also want to let you know, as I think the mayor or Ben mentioned at the groundbreaking, they have another project at 30 Bryant Road that has a closing for submissions on April 6th, I believe. Now, when it gets to workforce housing, we did ask Claude. Claude, you still here? Okay, I got to get my facts straight. Claude is still here. But Claude and Jennifer at the Beaufort Jasper Housing Trust are shining a lot of light on workforce housing and the severity of the project. If you look at it and think back to when you got out of college or when you were young, they said, hey, you pretty much could afford a monthly payment of about 28%. Nowadays, it's the guideline is 30%. What this graph shows is that there have only been 2 periods of time where we've had affordable housing in the last decade. But what you're seeing is that people are spending over 50% of their income to have a roof over their heads. This is not sustainable. What you're seeing on this next slide is that your qualified income has to be up near 169,000, yet the actual income for the family is south of 100,000. So there's a huge gap that it's unsustainable. When Rebecca was showing the jobs in the region, you had accommodations and food service. The blue shows you the number of jobs, and then it shows you the average compensation. Keep this in mind when we go to the next slide, because what it's telling you is that if people in those different sectors would only pay 30% of what they were making, the accommodation and food service worker could afford to pay just under $800 a month. That doesn't exist in Beaufort County. The retail worker, just under $1,000. It largely doesn't exist. So there's a huge gap here. As we go into this year, we just ask that, when you look at that model, the Ned Hill model, that we really do have to focus on this gap in workforce housing. I will wrap this up pretty quickly. Our ongoing, just give you a little flavor of our ongoing marketing efforts. We are doing a lot, and if you please follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. Largely, we're also on Instagram. But we have these property listings featuring product in our region. Our model is a little different than a lot of economic development groups in that oftentimes we're promoting private real estate, not nonprofit-owned real estate. Then we also do a lot with WHHI, an extension of this program to bring news and make sure the public's informed on what we're working on. And then lastly, we try to feature what's made in Beaufort County to keep people apprised of what we're doing. And so with that, I will wrap up. I'll say this, because I'm seeing Bo move in his seat, Jason and I will stay up front at the end of the program, and we'd be happy to answer questions. We thank you for being with us today and for your ongoing interest in understanding what we're working on and support of economic development. Thank you.